Welcome to Storytime. I'm your host and author, Cherie Baker. Today we'll be reading from Coffee Cakes and Dragon Eggs, a cozy fantasy set in modern-day England. Enjoy! Chapter 11. Yesterday's visit had gone well, for the most part. The demolition crew were making a good start on the farm site. It wouldn't be long before they could start on the new foundations. And Violet, oh, good grief, she had finally showed the cracks in her noggin. Toby went to the bookshelf and pulled down Grandfather's leather ledger, so ancient the spine creaked when he opened it. He flipped through the brittle cream pages until he got to one marked with a bright pink sticky note. I, Alberta Tobias Shepherd, the first, do hereby grant my daughter, Mrs. V. Shepherd, and all her kin, the right to abide in Shepherd's Mill, rent-free, in perpetuity, for services rendered to me and the community. Toby had never been able to get anyone to tell him what the services were, or why his grandfather had written such a strange clause into his will, but it was locked tight, or rather, it had always seemed that way. The irritating thing was that it was his land. He owned the turf under the old bat's feet. His land. His mill. His! But he couldn't do anything with it until stupid old Violet died. And she hadn't given a rat's arse to his struggling mother, had begged the old codger for a little cash to buy groceries. Nope. Didn't matter in the slightest that her sister-in-law was doing her best, but the meager income of a betting shop assistant wasn't enough to feed a growing boy. And it wasn't Mum's fault she'd been widowed so young. But the way that family had turned their backs on both of them, well, that was unforgivable. And the state of the mill was a disgrace. He shook his head. First the old bat dragging him across the country to yap about dragons like a demented toddler. Next thing, she'd want him to move in and make her some tea. Surely it wouldn't be that difficult to convince the courts to sign power of attorney to her last living relative. After that, well, transferring her to sheltered accommodations should be a dawdle. He would ask his solicitor to wave their magic, form-fixing fingers over the deal, of course. And if she was lucky, Violet might even qualify for an NHS placement. The state-run stuff often smelled of despair, but it was better than dumping her old bones in a decrepit seaside hostel to rot. She was family, after all. He wasn't heartless. Once his dear old auntie was out of the way, he could start whipping that pile of stone into something salesworthy. The scenic location would be perfect for hydro or maybe wind power. An entire village of fashionable eco-flats could fit into that vast workshop. He'd install all the latest, greatest smart gadgets, in the name of energy saving, of course, extra insulation, large triple-glazed windows to take in the amazing views, and all that could be pre-made in a cheap Eastern European factory, although those would be shipped here with diesel, which was quite polluting. Buyers would only look at what the glossy brochures said, and no one would care. Also, the government was handing out grants like sweeties to any builder starting a fresh development that cut the carbon emissions. With the cost of utilities going up, it'd be easy to get buyers to justify the higher initial cost against their potential long-term savings. The whole upgrade was a no-brainer, and he might just win the next Mega Builders Conference prize. He could just about taste the pounds rolling into his coffers. Toby slid the ledger back on the shelf and went to his desk to tap the intercom. Curzon, set up an appointment with my solicitor. Sir, I'm not privy to your contacts. Raj sounded peeved at the interruption. It's not like they're locked in Windsor Castle, Toby snapped. Look in the top drawer. Should be a little black book. I'm rather busy at the moment. You're on my payroll, so I expect you to be busy. Now, I also need you to check the utility bill for Shepherd's Mill. I want to know if that biddy is racking up debt, 'cause I'm not paying him for her. And how am I supposed to do that? I don't know. You figure it out. I thought you were a computer wizard. Raj made a choking sound. What did you call me? Toby craned his neck, trying to see the desk outside his office. That fool Raj had better not have just spilled tea on anything important. Need I remind you there's a no eating at workstations policy here? No, sir. Good. Toby snapped the intercom off. That chap was a lazy waste of space. He really must ask for a replacement. As he pulled his phone out to contact the IT agency, it started ringing. He glanced at the caller and smiled. Handy pandy. How are things going? Mr. Shepherd? Anyone else call you handy pandy? No, and I wish you wouldn't either. In other news, one of my lads has just found a graveyard in that high field you want built on. Wouldn't know it to look at the place, but he hit granite slab buried in the weed. Turned out to be a headstone. So, he left the digger there. Needed a good strong shot of the sauce in his tea to steady his nerves after that. No, keep quiet. Get rid of everything. Carry on. Toby kept his voice even despite his builder's nonsense. So you want me to call in the special crew? You know night jobs cost extra. Toby sighed. Cover-up would be expensive, but not as expensive as exhuming bodies of a dozen or so relatives that he couldn't give a rat's backside about. Yes, and be quick about it. I need to get those houses on the agent's books ASAP. Can't do that if there's skeletons lying around. Sure thing, boss. I'll make sure they rest in peace somewhere wild. No worries. Toby chuckled. Peace or chaos. Makes no difference to me. Nobody's gonna be visiting. If you've enjoyed this section, please like and subscribe. New chapters will be recorded weekly. Alternatively, check out the description for places to purchase the book.